What's up? Check out this blunt and honest review from the Jock and Nerd Podcast. That's us. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the jock.
He's the nerd.
And he's the rug boy.
What's up, guys?
Jock and Nerd. Okay, fellas, let's get to this week's review. We are going to be reviewing Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler's latest epic, Sinners. Here is your spoilers.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
This is Coogler's fifth movie, and I believe the fifth time he's also worked with Michael B. Jordan. They're 5 for 5.
Yep.
Right? Because isn't in Wakanda Forever, he's got a brief cameo? Yeah.
He shows up in the, what do they call it? Like the ancestral dream zone or whatever?
Ancestral plane.
The ancestral plane. So, Coogler, Jordan doing it to the tune of Rotten Tomatoes score 98% on the tomato meter, critic score, audience rating 97%. And here's an interesting note. It got an A cinema score. And apparently this is the first time in like 35 years a horror movie has gotten an A cinema score. So there's a lot of momentous things that's breaking here as we get into some more numbers. The budget of this movie around $90 million, and it opens domestically $45.6 million. Not bad. Currently is sitting at like $61 million worldwide. It opens number one over Minecraft, but Warner Brothers finally is having some good luck as they have the number 1 and 2 movie with Sinners and Minecraft. Minecraft, $720 million worldwide in 3 weeks, which is insane. But Warner Brothers really needs this double hit. I don't know if you followed the story. Zaslav was like going to fire Mike DeLuca, Pam Abdi, heads of Warner Brothers. Their jobs are on the line, and they put out some clunkers like Mickey 17 and this other movie. But now they've got 2 hits at number 1 and number 2. Some more interesting business notes. Coogler apparently had a crazy deal for this movie. And Warner Brothers, so desperate that, through this bidding war, they were the only studio to accept these terms, which is how it lands at Warner Brothers. What were the terms? Ryan Coogler gets final cut on the movie, which is great. No notes from the studio. He gets first dollar gross, meaning he gets money from the first day of release. Doesn't have to wait for the studio to make its money back. And that perk is usually reserved for like your big directors. And then this one is the craziest and unheard of concession. Ryan Coogler will get the rights back to this movie in 25 years.
Oh, shit.
Nobody does that.
Yep.
Nobody ever gets that. This is the guy, though. Again, movie Sinners, produced, written, and directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan in dual roles as the Smokestack twins, Smoke and Stack. You have newcomer Miles Catton as Sammy Moore. You have Jack O'Connell playing an Irish vampire Remick. You have Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim. Who else do we got? We got
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld, yeah.
Right. That's the other big one. Haley Steinfeld as Mary. And the rest of the cast is quite great. But I want to also mention his whole creative team Ryan Coogler has that he uses in every movie, which is Ludwig Göransson doing the music, Ruthie Carter doing the costumes. And then a technical note, cinematographer Autumn Durald Arkapaw, who had shot Wakanda Forever with Coogler. They shot this on 65 millimeter film using a combination of this IMAX 15 perf, 70 millimeter giant film, and Ultra Panavision 70 millimeter cameras. So the scenes alternate from 2 different aspect ratios. And this is crazy because those IMAX cameras are huge. This is only the 20th movie to use the IMAX cameras and only the 13th movie shot in this Ultra Panavision. And we could talk about the effect of that if you saw it in IMAX like I did. It's amazing. But this is a rated R movie, 2 hour, 17-minute runtime. Anthony, what happens in Sinners?
Oh, man. Sinners is a movie set in the 1930s in the Mississippi Delta where 2 African Americans that have been traveling the U.S., mostly in Chicago, come back home with money, probably drug money or blood money.
Yeah.
And they come back to their hometown to build a juke barn or basically a club for the 1930s for their people. And in the midst of building this club for their own people, they draw some attention from some supernatural beings that look to fuck shit up for them.
Mm-hmm. Juke joint. I love that term. Let's go to the juke joint. All right, Anthony, let's just start with you. We heard about this movie. We love these two creators. Movie ended. How did you feel?
I felt pretty good. I had to take a piss because it was a long movie, but
it is a long movie.
Yeah, no, I don't know if you guys had a chance to listen to my instant reaction. That my thoughts are pretty much the same. I ended this movie and I went, that was pretty good. That was fun. Like, I enjoyed being in a movie theater. It was a packed theater on a Saturday afternoon for something that seemingly every person that watches movies has been dying for, which is some sort of auteur director getting a big budget to do something that isn't based on another story or other IP or a franchise. And it was good, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. Like I said in my Patreon review, check out Patreon if you don't have it. Subscribe, take part, because it's awesome. You get free content. I said when I recorded it, that Ryan Coogler has made it. And what do I mean by that? I mean, he is at the level now, I think, especially if this movie does well in the box office, which I think it'll have some legs. He is at that level where he is a big name director that can do what he wants. He can make his own movies. He can make demands like he's made about, first dollar in and getting the rights back. He can work with anyone he wants, even though he chooses to seemingly work with Michael B. Jordan all the time, which is, and he can do, and people will go and watch it, and it'll be something where fans will enjoy it, critics will like it. Like, he's on the level, in my opinion, not in terms of like his whole career, but on the level currently of like your PTA, your Nolans, your Quentin Tarantino's, where they can just make whatever they want at this point.
Yeah. He's at blank check level director.
Exactly. Like blank check level, and because all the other stuff he's done has been franchise stuff. Yeah. Station, but that was also like an indie movie based on another story. This was the first time he was getting free reign to do something wholly. Yeah. He has inspirations, but it's his own original thing. And I thought he hit well on it. I enjoyed it. It's one of those movies where the more I marinate on it, the more I like it.
Yes.
And I was really looking forward to talking about it. So, yeah, overall, I'm very high on the movie.
All right. Delhauer, opening thoughts. How'd you feel once the movie ended?
As I walked out of the movie, one of the first things that happened was I got out into the lobby, and I heard a guy behind me who was also leaving the theater say to somebody, Haley Steinfeld as a vampire? Fuck, she could turn me. And I laughed my ass off all the way out the door. And then when I got outside and I was heading to my car, the first thing I just said out loud was, wow, what a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, I just had such a great time seeing this film. I had a great time in the theater with it. It's one of those things where it's such a wonderful mix of, it's not only is it fun, but it's so well made. It's so well written. It is so well acted that, like, it's just every aspect of this movie came together to be top notch, in my opinion. Yeah. And this may be the second movie I've seen in theaters this year, because I just don't have a lot of things that are driving me to want to go to the theater. But I saw that shit in IMAX, and that it was phenomenal. Yeah. Like, that is, I recommend anyone who has the ability to see it that way, do so.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have the ability to see it that way, go fucking see it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, when it opens up to the full aspect ratio in those certain scenes, it is just immersive and stunning. Ruggs, opening thoughts. How was your theater experience?
It was Thursday night, and it was about half full.
Okay.
There was a small applause break at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Not everybody clapped, but a few people did. I really, 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 really like this movie. I thought it was very well done, very well directed. I felt like the acting was incredible. Felt like a lot of the period stuff, the undertones, the layering was all there. I had a couple of things that kind of like knocked me a little bit out of this picture a little bit. There's the one scene.
We'll get to that one scene. Yes.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
One scene.
But I feel like there is an incongruence to the theme of this because it's about at its core, it's about not it's about music being like vampires, right?
Yeah,
and people like sucking the soul out of
culture.
It's about their culture.
Yes, it's about culture.
But then this movie is also a homage to Quentin Tarantino's Dusk Till Dawn.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
And I'm like, oh, if you're going to talk about originality, you have to have a completely original concept. You can't use a concept that's already been done and fresh in people's memories.
I mean, it's
like,
similar in the sense that it starts out as one thing and becomes another thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's about it's about vampires.
The second thing
too.
is the same. The first thing is a little different.
As we get further, I will be willing to contest that with Rug Boy.
Oh boy,
that's fine, but it's still a valid. It's still not. I'm not lying.
Oh, no, you're not.
So it's fine. You can contest it. But if you're going to make a statement about originality and things and blah, 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 don't do it while you're making an homage or getting inspiration from something else. It just kind of muddies it up. It doesn't ruin it. Yeah. I still loved it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I just noticed it.
Well,
that's all.
I mean, he has said in interviews he was inspired by that movie as well as some other things. The song Wang Dang Doodle. And his, I think his relationship with his grandfather and blues music. I also had a great experience. I saw it on Friday in the IMAX. It was a full theater. Everybody was locked in. That fucking movie had 2 applause breaks during the movie and then applause at the end, which I was like, wow, these people were really into it. But this is a sexy, funny, scary, stylish, confident, ambitious, emotional. It's gory. It's a blend of genres. It works without the vampires. It works as like an amazing period piece about these 2 brothers that I would have watched anyways. But this is why like movies were made. This is why film was made. The fact that he geeks out about film. Everything is firing on all cylinders. The acting, cinematography, the costumes, the directing, the music, the production design, the story. It's amazing. And like you said, Anthony, I felt the same thing. This is talent working at peak or near peak levels. And he, shows you with his fifth film why he's like one of the best auteur American directors out there. It's just so rich and lush with character and texture. It's a great American vampire story and just a good kind of original story. I want to say the word masterpiece. I don't know if that's too much, but it feels like a Coogler masterpiece. And I just love how he takes his time with the first half of the movie. So we can start talking about that. How
So for you, Imran, 2 things I want to do real quick before we start getting into the meat of the whole movie.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, just one. One real quick one is I agree with you. I would put the word masterpiece in this. But beyond that is a thing I want to put out there for anyone listening. We haven't really spoiled anything yet. And if you want to see this movie, if you haven't seen it and you're listening this far, I'm surprised because we've already done the spoiler alert. Yeah. Here's the thing I will say, because this happened to a bunch of people in my theater. There is what is essentially a mid-credit scene in this film that is the legitimate ending of the story. Stay to see that.
It should have been in the movie.
We had a bunch of people in my theater who got up and left once the credits started, and they missed that whole entire scene.
I mean, it should have been in the movie, and they kind of try to keep you there.
Should have been an epilogue. That was like after.
You see little musical things while the credits are rolling to kind of.
I get an idea as to why they did it, and I'll touch on it later when we get that far.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where people saw like directed by Ryan Coogler came up, and they immediately got up and walked out.
No, it's like a 6-minute scene. It's not just
it's not a little tag.
No, it's a big part of the movie, so you definitely want to stay. But no, that's a good note. And really, it's not really that spoilery because even if you know it's vampires, you forget this movie's about vampires for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you were talking about that first 30 to 40 minutes, I loved that first 30 to 40 minutes. And we all knew that there were vampires happening. But I think, at least for me, Coogler had so much confidence in what he was doing that I could have just watched them. I could have just hung out watching them prepare for a party. Like, that's literally what that is. But it's so rich in terms of style and character moments. And you see like Michael B. Jordan playing twins and getting a feel for each of those guys. And I think like that's where, while I agree with Ruggs on like in that its story's not wholly original, I think he does a good job of taking things he's inspired by and not necessarily copying them, but transforming them with his own voice. And I think he does a really good job of putting in like that first 30 to 40 minutes, you get an understanding of where you're at, that this is lived in. You get an understanding of like, oh man, this is like kind of a music movie. And it's also like a hangout movie with these guys. And then you also have like, I don't fully understand at times what they're saying because they're speaking in the way that they would speak back then. But I like it because it's like, it feels lived in, it feels real. So like all that stuff, I really enjoyed that first 30, 40 minutes where you're not even really getting to the action or anything like happening, but lots of shit's happening.
It is. And that's the important part is you need to be engaged and invested in these characters. And he absolutely does that. So when the shit hits the fan, you're like, no, fuck.
Oh, yeah. To the point that getting to understand and know the Smokestack twins.
Yes.
I want to know everything about before this movie. Like, I'd love to see the adventures of the Smokestack twins in World War I.
Right.
The adventure of the Smokestack twins working in Capone's Chicago.
Yes.
Like, I'm so engrossed with these fucking characters that I want to see more about where they were before this.
That would be a great prequel. And I kind of feel like these guys robbed Capone, and that's where they got the money.
Well,
I don't know.
They offer it up in the idea that they robbed both Capone and Bugsy.
The Irish and the Italians both.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what his full name was, but Bugsy,
Malone?
whatever it was I think it's Bugsy Malone.
Yeah.
So they robbed both the Irish and Italians in Chicago to get both the money and the booze they bring down to Mississippi to try and run the juke joint.
And they robbed both so that it would look like each did it to each other.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah. And then we do learn a little bit about their dad was abusive and one of them had to just kill them. But dude, this dual performance, first of all, technically fucking seamless. When they're passing a cigarette back and forth, I was like, get the fuck out of here. Look at that. That looks amazing.
That was greatly done.
It was so well done.
And they're color coded, right? One's in blue, one's in red, and they're twins, but you see two distinct characters, right?
Yeah, you do.
So, like, you got Smoke, who's he's more of the leader. He's more practical. He's more emotionally open. You know, his story with Annie, his estranged ex-wife or girlfriend, and the child they lost, and she's into witchcraft, and he doesn't really believe it, but he's kind of into it. That was fantastic. And then you have Stack, who's kind of the scoundrel of the two. He's more of a hothead. He's charming, but he's also reckless. And he runs into Mary, Haley Steinfeld, who he left. And I love like, so the beginning, that whole sequence where he's going to see the Chinese couple, and it's just like a oneer going back and forth between the buildings across the street. It feels lived in. But I love when Stack just shoots his friend in the ass. And then,
no, that was Smoke.
Oh, that was Smoke. And then he shoots the other one in the knee just cause.
Yeah, I can't let you have people saying you almost ripped off the Smokestack twins.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
That's great.
The thing that I love about it with the two of them is that, especially for me, you know, I'm the youngest of three kids. I have an older brother who, number one, he's 8 years older than me, but people think we're twins because we look very similar.
Okay.
But it's also, as the older brother, he is far more self-serious and he is far more like calm in demeanor. Whereas I'm the little brother, you know, I'm out there, I'm charismatic, and I love people looking at me.
Yeah.
So I immediately have the ability to connect with these twins in this story because it is the idea of I can immediately see me and my brother Eric in this of, oh yeah, that's absolutely how he would behave. That's how I would behave. That's how we would interact with each other. Yeah. And so like, it was wonderful to be able to kind of dive into that immediately of like, I'm so tied to this that I can buy everything that's going on between the two of them.
Yeah, you can absolutely tell the difference between the two, which is great because I was wondering how he's going to do that. Let's. What else about the Smokestack Twins, you guys? Anything, Ruggs, Anthony, you like about the way it was performed?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with everything as far as like what Delhauer said, and I was very, very. I didn't even know walking into the movie that it was about twins. I just thought it was Michael B. Jordan playing one role. I didn't realize it was him doing two roles. Actually, three when he becomes a vampire too.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier on when I first saw the poster, just to cut off real quick, sorry. I remember seeing that he was on the poster twice. I'm like, wow, he's really selling Michael B. Jordan in this movie.
You got to make sure you see him. I just think he's got a lot of charisma. I mean, there's a reason why he's Michael B. Jordan. Ever since I saw that movie Chronicle, he's been standing out. So he's always been charismatic, and he knows how to play to the camera, and he can completely hold the attention in a movie easily.
Well, what's cool, I think, about him is, and I heard this somewhere, and I completely agree, is, and I think that's why Coogler likes working with him, is Michael B. Jordan can play two things really well. I mean, he probably can do a lot of things, but he can play like the quiet, confident guy, which he's done in a lot of roles, but then also he can play the guy that's a little bit of a hothead, which he plays in like Creed and Killmonger.
Yeah.
So like he can do both really well, and then they're just like, hey, you do these two things really well. Do them both in this movie.
Do them both.
It's what's very interesting is to go back and look at it as like, okay, Smoke is Michael B. Jordan from Fruitvale Station.
Oh yeah,
he is that very wise, somewhat quiet, understandable. Like he has the ability to read a room and know how he has to go through that.
Right.
Versus Stack is Killmonger.
Yeah. Or the young Creed.
Or the young Creed.
Yeah.
He's hot-headed.
Yeah.
He's charismatic.
Yeah.
He is someone you want to look at, but he's going to wind up fucking shit up because he doesn't think before he acts.
Even the little detail of like the cigarette, if you notice, Smoke always asks his brother or gets a cigarette from someone. And then at the end, when he's getting ready, he's shaking. He can't even roll a fucking cigarette, and he has to throw it away because he fucked it up. Because he has
to get somebody else's cigarette.
He can't make his own cigarette. It's so
get the Klan guy's cigarette.
Yeah, yes. And then he gets it from the Klan guy before he just fucking shoots him.
Let's, I think this is a good point because we've talked about the beginning. I think it's a good point to get to that scene.
Yeah.
Because it's smack dab in the middle of that movie.
Yeah.
The movie's been like a hangout movie, but it's also been a period piece, and it's been also peppering in music. And the Smokestack Twins have a little cousin who's almost like the main character of the movie.
It really is about him.
Definitely the main character.
Preacher
Sammy.
Yeah.
Who you meet and you see right away the carnage that had happened, and you see he has this whole storyline with his father wanting him to be in the church and not play music, and they're playing it up like he's this savant, right?
Yeah.
And he gets into the scene where he's at the juke barn, and they're like, okay, the main event is here.
Opening night, grand opening.
Main event, Delroy Lindo's been to entertain the crowd, and then he gets to start playing. And the scene that literally everyone that I've watched a review on is going to talk about and has an opinion on is he starts playing and they do a oneer where all of a sudden it becomes this surreal thing where he's playing so well that it's like tying into the past and the future and the history of music, and they're blending the genres, and they have people from different parts of the timeline showing up, and it seems like it's in the building is burning down, and it's just like kind of this surreal moment.
Yeah.
I'll hold my thoughts first. I'm curious. I know what Rug Boy thought of it because I listened to it, but I'd love to get people's thoughts on that because I think that's like a pivotal moment in the movie. And I think that's before I get into like hearing your thoughts, I think that's the moment where like Coogler's doing his thing and he takes a big swing.
It's the biggest swing in this movie. Like clearly this is his passion project, right? And he has so much to say. And when this was unfolding, my mouth was open, and you're kind of transfixed.
Because your teeth fell out, or because
my teeth fell out and I had to get under the seat, and there was popcorn everywhere. And
he couldn't even watch the scene.
I couldn't even watch it. But the camera work, and then when the funk guitars pops up, and then you see a DJ, and then tribal figures from different cultures, and then it's a literal barn burner. It was mesmerizing. I will say it was mesmerizing, and I didn't know what to think of it at the time. But I think it kind of works for me. I could see how it wouldn't work for people. It might take you out. But this being the power that attracted Remick and the vampires, the culture, the power of music, connecting, essentially saying all of popular music and culture kind of starts right here. You know, it's a similar parallel to Robert.
If you buy into that, then it works.
Well, because it's also, you know, the story of Robert Johnson, legendary blues guitar, sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads, is kind of, this is what he's talking about here. This is that kind of story, that fable that got big in blues music. Sammy's kind of like this Robert Johnson. He has this power. It's devil music, according to his father, but it's also can pull all of your histories and your ancestors together. So in the end, I think it really works. Delhauer?
I'll touch on it here. I actually have a whole thing about the music in this movie that I wrote out that I wanted to do at some point during the review that talks about not just this scene, but a lot of the scenes that involve the big musical moments and what they represent and what they mean to the theme of this. But talking for it for now, I'll say this is an aspect that I didn't touch on in that writing that I did think of when we were talking just now. In the theater before the movie started, we got the trailer for the new Jurassic Park movie.
Okay.
And one of the things I thought about it whilst watching that trailer was I cannot tell you how absolutely fed up I am with the ironic comedy of blockbuster movies in Hollywood. In that trailer, there is a moment where Scarlett Johansson's character meets this like paleontologist or whatever he is that they're going to bring to the big dinosaur island. And she makes a comment of, well, you know, you're going to come with us and I can guarantee your safety more or less. And he then responds, more or less.
It's so dumb. The jokes in that trailer
and then
are horrible.
We get further on in the trailer and there's a point where they're on a boat and a bunch of dinosaurs surround the boat. And he says like, oh, they're helping the mosasaur. They're protecting their territory and they're hunting us. And Scarlett Johansson says, nothing that you just said is good.
Yeah, it's so bad.
And all I can think is, oh my God, I'm so fucking tired of this shit.
Yeah.
I fucking hate how people write movies these days. And the thing about this scene when Sammy sings the song I Lied to You, and we connect to this mystical aspect of the story that they brought up in the opening monologue of the film. Right. And they repeat here about the ability of singers and storytellers to connect us to our culture and our history and even our future.
Yeah.
In the way that this just essentially invites the soul of people to connect together as a community. And this is one of those moments where you can have plenty of jaded and cynical people look at this and go, this is so stupid, because they bring in DJs and rock guitarists and tribals, dancemen, fucking Crips and Bloods show up. We bring in 90s, you know, Dr. Dre style beats all the way up to DJs
too, right? Yeah.
and all that
Working
shit.
happens.
And then when we realized that the Chinese couple who runs the grocery store even like this music, now we've got geishas and everybody else who are dancing around the area. This is a scene where you don't make this scene if you are afraid that people are going to roll their eyes or cringe at what you're making.
Right.
You are either in or you're fucking out, and that's it. And I loved that Ryan Coogler said, no. This is the moment that you have to either buy in or fuck off. Because this is the crux and the point of my story.
Yeah, I didn't buy into
Ruggs,
that.
I was going to ask, Ruggs, did you buy in?
And I'm going to tell you now.
I rolled my eyes like immediately. I was like, oh, I mean, like to suggest it is great. To suggest it is fantastic. I mean, music does have a quality of bringing you, like connecting you to this creative force. And yes, that spans time and space. And that's a great thing. But I feel like there was a certain level of restraint that could have been added to this that would make it work better. And I feel like if you have to hedge your bet that it's going to be, you're going to roll your eyes or you're going to lock into it, and it's like that 50-50, I think you could have made it more like 70-30 and had a little bit more control over it to kind of get there. And I felt like the overall thing was I like that they did talk about, they introduced the idea of like saying, somebody says it, like music is this thing that can be considered to be evil.
Right.
Because it makes people lower their inhibitions.
Right.
And that's where you have that aspect rolling. But it was like a lot of things mashed up together. And I felt like it was a little bit like, instead of it being like I said, 70-30, it was more like 50-50. So I was like, it could go either way. And I just went the other way with it. But I could see how people liked it. I could see people liking it. I'm not going to say it was completely without merit.
I'll throw this out there for you then, Ruggs, because this is part of the thing that I wrote up about it, is seeing this scene where we witness everybody is kind of giving into this music and they're enjoying it. And we're seeing that it is creating a community out of everyone allowing themselves to give in and connect together. And that's why we're getting the DJs and the rock guitarists and the geishas and the tribal dance and whatever it is. We put that as a juxtaposition to the scene later on when Remick has started creating more and more vampires, and he does the Rocky Road to Dublin moment out in the field.
Right.
Where this is now an instance of another situation in which we are seeing a community built around music. But this is not an instance in which the music is allowing everyone to connect to it based on their own cultures and ideals and understanding. They are all being forced to connect to just this one person's culture because he has a control over all of them and makes them sing along.
Right. Some of the same people
them dance along
that were in the scene prior. Some of the same people now, they're outside being
and
forced.
So it is this juxtaposition of this pure aspect of music that allows you to experience it how you want versus this corrupted aspect of music that demands you do what it tells you.
And what's that?
It is the idea of we are all one no matter whether or not you want to be.
I mean, it's also like a little cultural appropriation, right? He kind of wanted the power of his music. He wanted
he wanted Sammy because Sammy's music allowed people to feel, whereas his music just demands you to follow along.
So I'm going to jump in real quick.
Yeah.
So I think this is all a good discussion. I think I can totally see where Ruggs' viewpoint. I can see like everyone's viewpoint, because when I initially saw the scene, I was confused. I was taken aback because I was like, whoa. How does he make all this music sound so good from all these different eras? So I was like, whoa, that's impressive. Yeah. But then I went, what is happening here? What are we going in this, like, he is such a savant that he calls upon like the spirits to help him? Like, is this something that's going to happen later? So it took me a while to really marinate on the scene. Yeah. And like, it took me like after the movie to really think about like, what did I just watch there? Yeah. What just happened? Because in the moment it happens and then it's not really, you know, there's music later on, but he can't do that again. He doesn't do that at any point. So it's like, oh, what? This is Coogler's big swing. I would lean more towards Imran and Matt in that when I thought about it more, I really liked it. And I think it's like one of the overall things of the movie too, where there's a lot of different things that are happening where you can draw upon your own experiences or your own interpretations of things, and it's not wrong. Right. And I think for me, I think about the fact of like I go to a lot of music festivals. I've been to a lot of different concerts, and I think about the times where I'm slightly inebriated and listening to music that I really like. Yeah. And it's transformative.
It's transcendent.
Yeah. It's like it literally like when you listen or watch or view really good art. Yeah. You lose yourself in it. Yeah. And I think that like connection that we have to like the ancestors and the future, like through art and music specifically in this instance, I think that's what he's touching upon. And I think in that moment and then reflecting on it, I can just think about like my own experiences with music and I'm like, I get it. I relate to that. I don't know that like I know my ancestors that well. Yeah. But I'm pretty fucking sure like my ancestors and then the people ahead of me are going to like music too.
But it's just connection in general. Whether you're in the club, everybody is vibing to the same thing now.
Right. Yeah.
And you've kind of become music, one like
anywhere.
Thing. Yeah. Now, is it a little indulgent? Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
But like we said, no notes, final cut. He's going to do what he wanted to do. It was risky and he took a big swing.
So another one, I might as well just jump on some of these music things if we're there.
Because the movie is a musical as well as
100%.
a Southern drama as well as a vampire movie. It's all these things.
one of the things I looked into and I wanted to research, because I'm a white boy from up north. I don't know a lot about Mississippi Delta blues.
Get out.
But one of the things I looked into, and honestly I found very intriguing, is the scene when Remick first shows up at the juke joint with Bert and Joan.
Yes.
And they want to be let in.
Yeah.
And they're saying like, oh, we'd love to come in. We'd love to play some music, spend some money, have a great time with you. Yeah. And everyone's kind of iffy on them. They offer to play a song for them to show that they're cool.
Now, let me ask you right here. The fact that Remick, do you think this is a weird writing? I mean, this is obviously forced, right? That the vampire that's coming is a musician and controls all the other people to make music. You don't find that to be a little bit super contrived?
I think at times you kind of have to just give into the world they're building for it to follow the story than to really try and pick it that much apart.
Let me just interject real quick, because there's a key part where they say part of the whole allure, and I'll let you go in a second, Matt, is part of the whole allure of the vampires is the fact that all the problems of that world go away when you become a vampire.
Right.
And one of the things is they all share each other's memories. So they all understand where each of them are coming from. That's why they can all do that Irish jig, because immediately you become a vampire, you understand everyone.
Get to share consciousness.
The appeal of being a vampire is like it's like the devil. It's the temptation of you can enjoy a world where there is no racism, where we all understand each other, where we're all going to enjoy each other. Yeah. We're all going to be fucking lustful and we're going to fucking eat everybody. But it's going to be a good time, and you don't have to deal with the real world problems.
You just can't go out in the sunlight. That's all.
Well, but you don't have to deal with being a black man in the 1930s.
It's it's another community. There's also the parallel of Irish immigrants using their music just the way black people use blues music to process oppression and what they're going through. I thought that parallel was very good too, because Remick and vampires are another disenfranchised community. So they kind of understand, but he's there to offer them a freedom.
He's offering his own version of freedom.
I just think that it could have been written better. The character could have been written better. Like Remick could have been written better, because he just shows up on a doorstep. If he was a musician that was performing or something,
I don't earlier in the movie, a musician. I think what it was them showing up with musical instruments and singing wasn't just a thing they do. That was a thing that they knew they needed to do in order to try and tempt Sammy.
To get Sammy.
I don't know. I actually disagree. I think he was a musician.
I mean, he may have had music in the background.
But the thing is that it leaves you to figure that out on your own. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if he was kind of a little bit more in charge of that, he would have probably built that in a little bit better.
I kind of like the introduction, like the short introduction when he pops out and his skin is burning and he gets to the house.
I love that shot where he just fucking drops into frame while almost on fire.
Yeah. And then Choctaw Vampire Hunters, that's a whole movie right there. Give me that fucking movie.
Cool.
Jesus.
That was cool. Yeah.
That was amazing.
That's a dope ass story to tell.
Yeah. And the members were clan members.
Great world building.
Yeah. Great. I want to see so many things out of this thing. But back to Sammy real quick. Miles Kenton, just what a breakout performance. His voice, his speaking voice, that's him singing and playing. I've watched some videos of him playing that song live. Amazing. I don't know where this kid came from. Oh, I know where he came from. He was the backup singer for Her. H-E-R.
Oh, yeah.
But just what an amazing performance from this kid right out the bat.
Let me jump in and say, let me kick it back to Matt, because I interrupted him. I know he was going on a music thing while we're still on the music.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So the thing I wanted to touch on was the scene where Remick and the two clan members show up.
Yeah.
And they're talking about we'd love to be let in. We'd love to, hang out with you guys and play some music and everything. So they play a song called Pick Poor Robin Clean.
Okay.
As the song they want to prove, hey, this is we're a band.
Right.
I tried to do some research on this song because apparently it is in fact like an old folk song out of the South.
Okay.
There's not a lot very much known about its origin. It's very much built in kind of an oral history. From best I can tell, it is believed that it was a song created for minstrel shows in the early 20th century.
Okay.
That would later be adopted as a folk song in the South with like the blues community. The thing I find so interesting about that is it means that if it was actually a minstrel song, it means it was a song written by white people.
Oh, sure.
From the perspective of the black community for entertainment.
Oh.
So having these three white people show up on their door and play this song as a way of saying, hey, check it out, we're cool.
That's why.
Is them presenting a fake aspect of understanding the black story in order to be allowed into the community.
It's like them showing up and saying, hey, let's play some Limp Bizkit.
Right.
Yeah. Or being like, yo, we're cool, man. We can play some dominoes with you. And you're like,
it's very,
okay,
it's patronizing, and that, and clearly,
and
that's
it's the idea of presenting this patronizing concept of understanding as a way of like, dude, we're down, we're hip, we're with it, and you're like, oh no, you guys aren't at all.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. And we then see as we go on the idea of with the vampires, Remick builds on this idea that they are a hive mind.
Yeah.
He learns and gains knowledge from everybody he brings into his family, anywhere from saying, hey, Bert and Joan are like the nephew and wife of the guy who sold you the place. They're all members of the clan. They're going to come here later and kill all of you.
He does tell them that,
Or when he takes over Bo, he learns how to speak fucking Chinese.
Dude, I love the fact that this is the main vamp and he builds this army very quickly in the course of, and the fact that everything is in one day is great, but he builds this army very quickly.
The moment where he starts speaking Chinese to Bo's wife is the moment where they solidify that Remick is the embodiment of cultural appropriation.
Yes.
That his whole entire thing of saying, look, we'll all become one community. No one will hate you. No one will attack you. You'll be powerful. We'll all live together in love.
Yeah.
But the only difference is that you're not free. You technically serve me. But I won't treat you poorly.
Right.
But you're not a person of your own.
Well, I think that all your point there is one of the things I really appreciate about the movie in general. Is if you want to just take the movie at face value, it's an entertaining movie.
Yeah.
But if you also want to do that kind of like thought process or that kind of investigation into what is he trying to say, what does this mean, it's all there.
Yeah.
It's all like it's there. If you want to dig into it and peel the onion, you can look at all the subtext. It's just rife with it.
Yes.
And you can come to your own conclusions on like what he was trying to say. I think that's one of the things that's really cool about Coogler's style is like it can appeal to a lot of different people.
Yeah, he made this broadly appealing movie that, like you said, on surface level is enjoyable and it's just quality craftsmanship, but he is saying a lot and it's all right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers. There's
so
a lot
many
of
layers.
A lot of things like that. I mean, there are brilliant ways that he introduced different things, different topics, and different subtext. But yeah, it's there for you if you want to get into it.
I mean, the first half is really funny. I thought Delroy Lindo stole a lot of the scenes. I love that.
Oh, he's great.
I love.
We haven't even touched on his whole entire speech about him being with a group of musicians that only were musicians because the cops blackmailed them into it.
That's right. After they passed by
there's so much of that shit to dig into. I also love that Remick towards the end when he finally confronts Sammy. Number one, the fact that throughout the entire movie he's becoming more and more monstrous.
Yeah.
Like he's got the extended claws and the fucking massive chompers and all that shit. But he even basically tells Sammy that like he was an Irishman in the 5th century when Christianity invaded Ireland. So he is yet another person where he understands like oppression and the plight of being taken over and forced to bend to somebody else's will, while at the same time being an oppressor is fucking like
that is deep,
fucking masterful.
And let's not forget, we got great tips on oral sex throughout the first half of the movie.
That's very
true. Which was some of the funniest bits there. Where what does he go? Because he found the doorknob. Listening to him.
This is also like the theater I saw this movie in. A predominantly black neighborhood.
Yeah.
Horniest theater I've been in a long time. One of my favorite moments was when Stack shows up to recruit Cornbread to be their doorman.
Cornbread's great. Yes.
At the juke joint.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is my wife. He goes, nice to meet you. And then he's talking about well, I can't leave. I've got a quota to meet. He goes, well, I'm talking about paying you the kind of money that if your wife knew how much money it was, she'd let you put her dick in her mouth.
Yes, right in front of her.
And he's like, you can't talk like that. And then the wife immediately goes,
how much money?
How much money?
Yeah.
And my favorite thing was two women sitting directly in front of me immediately went, mm-hmm.
I mean, even Haley Steinfeld's accent seemed so authentic too.
But why you didn't think it was weird that they had to squeeze in that she was like somewhat black?
I think she really is.
The weird thing is Haley Steinfeld is 1/8 black.
Yeah, that's actually a real thing.
Yeah.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, I think they're just playing upon her actual.
Oh, wow. I felt like, whoa, I'm like, where's that coming from? That doesn't need to be there.
I mean, all the little clues, like after Cornbread goes to take a piss and he's missing, he comes back and he's like, you gonna let me in or what? And Annie's like, Annie gets it. She's like, hold on. You've been coming in here all night. Why we gotta invite you in this time?
Speaking of Annie, I am such a fan of the fact that one of the major female leads and I guess sex symbols, I will say, of this movie is a large framed woman who just has full on mama energy.
Yeah. That's a sexy part. Who's the actress? What's her name?
Wunmi Musaku, I believe.
Wunmi Musaku was
she was in the Loki series and
she
also
she was a hunter, right? She was like
she runs
Hunter
the
She was
TVA.
the head of the TVA.
I thought that was her. Okay,
let's reel this in a little bit because we could literally be here for 5 hours.
I know.
Scene.
I know.
Let's get into like the third act, which is the vampire invasion and like how this movie ends.
So let me ask you about that decision by Grace. Once her husband gets turned and they threaten her daughter, she's just fucking loses it and goes, you know what? Fucking come in. And the whole audience, I was like, oh shit. And that whole rush and the invasion and the fight scene is amazing.
As a writer, the reasoning is shit has to happen.
Right.
I also recognize, look, I don't have kids. I can't think the way that someone who has kids would, but I could easily see someone who has decided the most important thing is protecting their child I'd rather you all come in now and we fucking kill you. So at least I'm being active.
Yeah, no, and she gets burned alive.
That is the most haunting visual of this fucking movie.
She gets burned alive, killing her husband.
Her stabbing her husband as they both burn to death.
Yeah, everybody kind of eats it. Annie.
Yeah, I felt it was a little hasty.
So, yeah, you couldn't give
the other side. I will say one of the few nitpicks I do have of this movie is when they came charging in and the whole thing was going on. Was there suddenly more people in the barn than there were before?
Delhauer, I'm with you on that. I noticed that. I went, wait a minute, who are these people getting bitten?
I was like, who the fuck is that guy with a gun?
They just need people to get bitten so the people that we need to follow don't get bitten right away.
Yeah, true. But I was like, we suddenly have like 15 people in the barn when we had 6 before.
That was a huge nitpick for me. I'm glad someone else knew that because I was like, what did I just watch? Yep, right there.
I just read it as they told everyone to leave and everybody got out, and I just assumed
there's people that stuck around.
They didn't get out.
Yeah. Some people say
that was why when they went to the Rocky Road to Dublin moment, like they had a fucking like 90 people in that field. Was everybody who left got bit.
I love how they threw that one guy out and he wasn't dead. He was just drunk and it was too late for him. That's hilarious. Yes. Anthony, talk to me about this fight scene. We get the death of Annie, who Smoke promised to kill her if she turns, and he does. Everybody mostly dies. You see Mary escape, and then you see Smoke and Stack fight, which is pretty epic.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was well done. It's good vampire action. I enjoy that the blood isn't that like fake. I don't think it was fake CGI blood that we're getting in a lot of these movies. Yeah. Even horror movies are giving us fake CGI blood. I thought it was an entertaining scene or last third act. I enjoyed, all aspects of it. I didn't catch that Haley Steinfeld's character and the other and
they split.
I didn't realize that they left.
Yeah.
So, that I didn't know that had happened. I thought they had all died. But yeah, I thought that was a great scene. I also enjoy just tagging on to that. I enjoy that we then get later on Michael B. Jordan just mowing down KKK members. Like I thought that was
I thought that they were going to show up during the nighttime.
Yeah.
That would be they were going to round up and burn it down while people were in it or something.
It's one of those moments where I was like, why would you show up in the morning?
Yeah,
like, do you think everybody slept
nobody's
over?
there.
Yes. Did he think they were going to be there like 5 a.m? So yeah,
We're going to have a juke joint and then it's going to be a slumber party.
Yeah. No, we get the big ending and the big battle in the water, and Miles hits him in the head with the guitar, and then Smoke comes in.
A wonderful way of showing that the plate on the guitar was made of silver.
Yes, it's a resonator guitar. Right, it was silver, and everybody felt it.
Well, and there's a big significance to the guitar because it's actually a guitar that their father gave them.
He tells them it was Charlie Patton's guitar, but it wasn't. It was his father's.
Charlie Patton, that was the name. I couldn't remember who they said it was.
But Smoke stabs Remick from the back. The sun comes out because they're all idiots and they don't realize the sun's coming up. When
they're really stupid.
You have lots of warning that the sun is coming up.
It's that moment where like you can clearly see the sun's coming up. Why are none of you fucking
have
reacting?
So much time to find some shelter.
Get inside.
It's called.
Well, then I guess it's on fire. They had nowhere to go.
It's called Dawn. You ever heard of it?
Yeah, that would be another nitpick. Is like Kugler. It almost was like Kugler's goes. I got to figure out how to get rid of all these vampires.
Yeah.
Let's just have them be stupid and hang out in the sun.
I did like.
Well, I guess it works that because it's a hive mind. If he didn't leave, they didn't leave.
Right. He's controlling them.
But then. Why do we get to that mid credits where two of them could leave?
Well, because they at least were able to hide from the sun, and then once he was dead, it didn't affect them. Because Annie said you can't just kill one; you have to kill all of them.
Right, they're connected, but they're not connected like that. I did like how Remick is dunking Sammy in the water, like he's rebaptizing him. That was great. So Sammy leaves with the car. We get that scene where he goes back to his father from the beginning. And then Smoke prepares for the Klan, and we get that fucking great shootout.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
One thing I want to jump in real quick.
Yeah.
I love that there was the little bit, again, on the same vein that Ruggs was talking about like, it's original but not wholly original. We did have that John Carpenter's The Thing scene where everyone had to eat a clove of garlic to prove that they're not a vampire.
Yeah. Oh my God. And I thought it was one of them for a second. I thought it was going to be the girl.
I was so convinced it was going to be the fucking singer girl.
Yeah, Pearline, but it wasn't. But that was great. And it's the usual vampire rules, right? Like garlic water, stakes through the heart, sunlight, silver.
Is that a thing too, where you have to invite them in?
Yes, they have to be invited in.
The only thing that most things don't really follow anymore is it used to be that they couldn't cross moving water.
Oh.
I don't know what that's from, but that was like a very old vampire like lore thing. It was like garlic, stake through the heart, silver, sunlight, and they couldn't cross moving water, and they had to be invited into your home.
Yeah, the water thing's dumb. You can ignore that.
Yeah, Dracula was on a boat. So.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Well, let me. This is actually where I'm going to jump in on the ending.
Yes.
So the movie bookends itself with the beginning of the movie is actually the end.
Yeah.
Where you see like the blues kid, what's his name? Sammy go into the church, and they're like, priest is basically like, see what happens?
Yes.
See what happens when you go outside?
Devil
kid.
music.
And I love that he has gone through this entire night, and he's holding the guitar of like an abusive father.
Yeah.
And he's like, it fucked things up that I played my music, but it was such a great time.
Yeah.
That I'm going to abandon the church and follow my passion.
Like you're waiting for him to let it go, right? He's
that aspect of him constantly being told, drop the guitar. It's not even a guitar. It's the neck of a guitar at this point.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you now, I was so convinced from the beginning of the movie that he had killed the head vampire with the neck of the guitar like a stake.
That's what I thought.
And that was why he wouldn't let go of it. The fact that that's not what it is, honestly, I love even more.
It's more symbolic because the shot of him holding it, and you're like, is he going to let it go? Is he going to let it go? And he does not. Anyways, we get the Klan attacking. Smoke has fucking Tommy guns, kills them all, but gets hit. And as he's dying, you get nice closure.
He grenades a truck.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
And I love that not only does he throw the grenade in the truck, when he throws it in the truck, he hits the driver in the face with it.
They're like, oh, shit. But as he's dying, he sees Annie and the baby, and he's reunited. Some nice emotional closure.
With one of my favorite written lines in this movie, I will say.
What is that?
So as he's sitting there, he asked the guy who sold them the place for a cigarette because he couldn't roll his own because he never could.
Yeah.
And he's smoking it, and he looks over and he sees Annie with their child who died in infancy.
Yeah.
And she calls him by his actual name, Elijah.
Right.
She says, Elijah, if you want to hold the baby, you have to get rid of that cigarette. I don't want you getting any of that smoke on her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
His name's Elijah. I also love the line where the guy goes, "You guys brothers?" And then you go, "Nah, we cousins." It's fucking funny. So let's get to
Ain't
that.
no boys here, just men with men money.
Yeah. Let's get to that mid-credit scene because
which should have been the ending, as we all
should have
said.
been the ending. We pick up in 1992 Chicago, and you have legendary Chicago blues musician Buddy Guy playing in Old Sammy, who's seemingly had a long and successful blues career. And who walks in? Fucking Stack and Mary, dressed up like they just got out of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or some shit.
Great costumes.
In 90s clothes. And then we learn
that fucking sweater,
that
dude.
sweater
I
was
want
wild.
that sweater.
The sweater is great. The hair, everything was so good. And they reveal that fight between Smoke and Stack, Smoke lets him go and told him, just leave Sammy alone for the rest of his life. I will let you go free. And he does. And they show up and they offer him vampire immortality now. But Sammy's like, you know what? I've seen enough. I'm good.
I love the fact that Stack tells him, you know, you're getting old. You might die soon. I can prevent that.
Yeah.
But you know he's only offering that because he knows Sammy won't say yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it seemed like an empty gesture because is it that? Why would he do it now? And they just want him to play on his old guitar, old Delta blues song, and he does. And I love that line where Sammy tells him, he goes, "It was the greatest day of my life until the sun went down." And Stack was like, "Me too."
Yeah, I loved that. It's like when the movie ended, I went, this was pretty good. And I'm glad I knew that there was a mid-credit scene because once the mid-credit scene played and it played out, I went, wow, that was awesome. Because I love that, like, they both sit there and they acknowledge, like, this was one of the best nights of their life.
Yeah.
Despite all the terrible shit that happened.
Yeah.
Like, it's about the music and, like, how they both got all the characters, even the vampires, get lost in, like, this thing. That was it's a music story.
Yeah.
Well, when you play music in front of people for the first time and you're experiencing that feeling where you're, Imran, you were in a band.
There's an energy there that goes back and forth between
and you'll never
you
forget
and the crowd.
it. You never forget it.
It's electric. It's wild, and you feed off of it, and it goes back and forth.
Let me ask you, because I've played music in front of a crowd, but never like to the point where I was controlling a crowd. And I think you guys, some of you guys might have experience of that. Like, does it feel like you're like levitating almost? And
oh yeah,
like does it feel like out of body?
Yes.
The moment that you can interact with a crowd and you can get them to respond to your command.
Yeah.
It is that moment where, like, going back to things like Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Yeah.
Like you can say this is the moment where you feel like a god.
I mean, the feeling I've had a couple of times is that you lock in and the music and everything almost becomes automatic, second nature. Yeah, you're not even thinking about it. It's happening, and you feel the energy coming back from the crowd reciprocating, and it just all kind of connects. And it is like a little out of body, a little floaty, and you always want to get back to that feeling. You always kind of chase that high. I mean, like dudes like Freddie Mercury, that whole Live Aid thing where he's doing the call and response with the crowd, literally controlling a crowd. This is the power of music, and this movie gets it.
The thing that I love about this ending scene too is that he breaks out the old guitar, which he had refurbished, had rebuilt, essentially, as we can understand. Yeah, and he's playing for Stack again. It calls back to the fact that the first time we see Sammy actually play, it's just him and Stack in the car.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just playing a song for his cousin, and his cousin responds with, "Oh, my God, this is fucking great.
I love the look on his face.
And then it cuts back to the fact that it's just this man who has built a career off of being this widely renowned blues musician, just playing a song for his cousin with no one else. I mean, Mary's there, but just it's not meant to be a moment for a crowd. It's not meant to be a performance outside of just, showing your cousin, I can still fucking do it, man.
Yeah.
And it's one of those I think that's the moment that like really, really cemented this movie for me, because with the two of them as being vampires and everything, it really plays on this idea of like the vampirism wasn't the monstrosity. It wasn't the enemy. It was just Remick and the way he used it.
Sure.
Right. I was going to say too, like the fact that you guys that have played music could feel that moment where he's like, you can understand why he would say that was the best night of his life.
Yeah.
Makes the movie even more for me like, oh yeah, like they nailed that
why he could come back to his father who told him, like, I told you the devil would come for you. Just drop the guitar neck, renounce the devil, and we can have a nice life. And his attitude is, I fucking can't.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what evil came from the night that I went for. Everything beyond that was worth it to have dealt with this nightmare.
Right.
Well, I mean, the thing is the thing about it is there is no right or wrong to it. Like his father is completely right in a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah,
like
drew the devil.
Yeah.
It literally
I mean,
did.
but like think about music. What happens in music? People people die, like Jimi Hendrix died.
Yeah.
People
People do a lot of drugs to music.
The 27 Club is a thing.
It feels like, your base instincts and primal things, and usually it leads to ruin. So he's not wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, the House of the Rising Sun, we all know that one. But like, so there is this push and pull of like, are you living or what are you doing? Are you living safely? Are you living dangerously? What are you doing? What is freedom? What is that? What is that? So it asks a lot of questions.
So
and I think
I want to add on to that real quick. And I think what I've been marinating with is like, what does the title mean?
Right.
And I think what the title means is to truly live a fulfilling life. At some point, we are all sinners.
Right. Everyone, you have to sin.
You have to, because like you won't get a taste of like what life can truly be unless you've experienced like the good and the bad.
Right. You're not living. Yeah.
Right.
There are
the
two
sinners?
sides to every coin.
Yeah.
And to only live on the one side is not to be the full coin.
Right.
Well, I think something like Jesus said that, everybody does it. He cast the first stone, right? Like everybody everybody's constantly sinning.
And so many aspects of religion are based on the concept of forgiveness of sin, because they recognize that life without it is not life.
Yeah, and that's why there's church in this. Like there's a church aspect to this. So I mean, he's got all the bases covered.
Yeah.
Man, it's fucking deep. Yeah, it's so thoughtful. Anthony, Oscar contention. Do you see it? What do you think it's going to get?
So yeah, I touched upon this because I don't know if you guys know this, but Anthony Polanski is back.
Oh shit! Oh, no.
Oscar Ant is back.
I'm very excited. Gerald
So
Moore's
let me just give you a quick Oscar thought. Normally, movies in April aren't Oscar baity, but there have been in recent times movies that were released in April that got nominated for Best Picture. I think this is clearly, obviously, one of the better movies of the year thus far. It's hard to say like what it'll win because there's so much of the movie schedule left, and a lot of the Oscar type movies get released later in the year.
Right.
That said, I would be very surprised if this is not a Best Picture nomination, because of the fact that it's a genre film, but much more, and we're seeing a lot of genre films get nominated. Ryan Coogler also already has like a lot of cachet with the Academy because he got Black Panther nominated.
Yes.
We have that, and the fact that it's like got an A cinema score, that's never happens, and just the overall fan appeal.
Yeah.
I think that's all in play. And then I think a lot of like what you would call the below the line categories are definitely in play. I think Best Director is in play for him. Maybe like Best Actor, Best Supporting. I think, but the below the line stuff for sure, like score,
costumes, music,
cinematography, costumes, music, casting, the new category, like those are all definitely in play.
I mean, these
set
are
design.
I mean,
Yep.
Ludwig Göransson, Ruthie Carter, these people have gotten Oscar nominations working with Coogler and in the past. So absolutely, I can see a bunch of nominations. Could it be possible? Could Michael B. Jordan be nominated for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor for the same movie?
That's a good
Could
question.
that happen? That would be fucking wild.
But on that note, I would say one of the things, just to wrap up a bow on my Coogler thoughts, is I think what he nails in a lot of his movies is like the little like details in terms of like set and music. Like music is a huge part of like all his movies.
Yeah.
And like the technical aspects, I think he is like at what, you know, like Bill Simmons says this all the time, but like at the peak of his powers, where he's like, he is like operating at a very high level when it comes to like technical craftsmanship of making a movie.
Absolutely. He's, like you said, he's up there with like your Nolans for technical stuff, but he is in the conversation with Nolan, with Tarantino, with Spike Lee. This reminds me of like early Spike Lee when he's getting his groove going. Denis Villeneuve, Matt Reeves. The man is, with his fifth movie, is absolutely in the conversation with these movie rugs.
Well, like he's following the same path. He's got to pull off another like 10 to 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
But like he's on the path.
Dude, his plan, like everything he's done has been so methodical, and he knows what he wants. He has a clear plan and he's following it business wise, technical wise, creative wise. It's quite remarkable. It's very exciting to watch this guy right now. Ruggs, is this the best vampire movie we've had in a while?
Oh,
I'm not even going to address that. But let's just talk about Ryan Coogler for a second.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler is now, this is his first original movie that's not, besides Fruitvale Station,
Correct.
that's not based on another IP existing or another studio. So, you know, Fruitvale, very straightforward. The Creed movie, very straightforward.
Fruitvale though is also based on real events, so this is first.
Yes, real events, but straightforward movie. Marvel's straightforward, pretty much. So he's not known for like being this like kind of auteur like guy who's like going off the beaten path. He's kind of like everything's kind of on rails when he's doing his thing directorially. He's doing technical things and all that stuff, but this is the first time we get to see a little bit behind the curtain a little bit.
This is the first Coogler to come out in a movie.
Yeah.
It's like the first.
And the question you have to ask yourself, you know, because, you know, I see like a lot of Tarantino here. I see aspects of like making a period piece, but not really a period piece, making a movie that shifts into another movie with vampires in it, talking about pussy. You know, like, you know, having those conversations and overall, like, yeah, like this kind of like almost like a hang with them, like in a lot of Tarantino, just hanging with them. So a lot of aspects of Tarantino, I see it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see where he goes from here, like but at the end of this movie, you just have to ask yourself, have you been Coogled? And I have been Coogled by the Coogler.
Coogled the shit out of this.
Yeah, he Coogled me. And so
Coogled
I
my
was
balls,
Coogled. Now, is
everything.
it the best vampire movie? I think it's a great vampire movie, but not the best. I think there's so many good vampire movies, and I could list a shitload of them. But you know, Interview with a Vampire is a great movie, and it's got a lot of themes that also in that.
Sure.
You got the Dracula movie.
Yeah.
You got Near Dark. You got fucking John Carpenter's Vampires, which is fucking legendary.
What about the Eddie Murphy vampire movie?
30 Days of Night. Yeah, Vampire in Brooklyn.
Vampire in Brooklyn. Yeah.
There's a lot of good vampire. Let Me In, Let the Right One In, both the same fucking movie, both great movies. So there's tons of vampire movies that are great. Lost Boys, let's not forget about Lost Boys.
Yeah.
If there's a guy playing a saxophone with his shirt off, you know you got something good going on there.
That's the greatest scene in movie history.
And let's not forget Fright Night. Both versions are
But
good.
I feel like this elevates itself, the genre, over those movies by what he's done here.
Well, let me defend the other movies.
Yeah.
This isn't straight up like it's not just straight up vampire movies.
No.
So
Right.
like in that sense, it is better.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, it should be better because he's taking inspiration. He's taking all the best things from other movies and putting them together. So like with the benefit of hindsight, like, yeah, it's going to be like up there. Like, is it the best? I don't know if you can say it's the best because he has time on his side.
Right.
Not only that, but he's got all these other vampire movies that came before
Right.
him.
Yeah.
You know, that he could draw from.
Exactly.
And yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
well, they were flying blind out there in the beginning.
Ruggs,
so.
let's start the wrap up with you. Give me your final thoughts and a number.
Whoa.
What? You got more? Oh,
We don't even ask me what I fucking think
I was going to get to you. About
about
vampire?
it compared to other vampire
Yes.
movies. God damn it, Imran.
jump in there, Delhauer.
I don't have a whole lot to say. In all honesty, it was going to boil down to if Ruggs hadn't brought it up, I was going to say we are not going to compare this to the most wonderfully gay vampire movie of all time, Lost Boys.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those things where in the aspect of do we see it going to the Oscars and everything like that. I see this movie immediately being in contention for best score, best original song. Cinematography is probably going to be a very high watermark for this one, as well as directing. Depending on what we see come along for the rest of the year, I could see it going for best picture as well, because I think this is a fantastic movie just overall. But the Oscars love to give the middle finger to horror films.
But the substance.
The substance
Well,
got a nod.
That's the thing. Yeah. The Substance last
Opened
year,
it
you also,
up.
it's like in
The Substance last year, and before the Substance,
Get Out.
But the movie but the girl who fucked the fish, that one.
Was that a
Yeah.
horror movie?
was that a horror movie?
Yeah, it was horror. Yeah.
Or did it just have monster fucking?
That one,
I
Shape
think
of Water. I would say Get Out. It's very similar, and I think it's the
yeah.
buzz around this movie is very similar to Get Out.
Yeah.
I would see that. So it's very rare, but 2 in a row, not usual. But I could see it being this time, and I hope
It's a new academy, Delhauer. They're inviting more and more people.
Yeah. they're
there's at
opening it
least
up.
one woman in it.
At least there's one person of color in there somewhere.
All right, let's move
There's
on.
a little Jordan Peele in here though too, but he's pulling from the same inspiration. So, okay. Ruggs,
Oh, boy.
final thoughts. Give me a number.
I'm gonna say 8.5. Yeah, I think it's excellent. It's an excellent film.
Anthony.
Well, initially when I first saw the movie, I went, "This is a 8."
Yeah.
And then I thought about it more, and it's one of those movies that if you like, when I watched the movie and then thinking about it for the show and then talking to you guys about it, it's the type of movie that where you go, man, like similar to music, where like when a good movie hits and you get to experience that with other people,
Yes.
it's transcendent. And I'm not saying this is the best movie of all time. I'm just saying it's a damn good movie that is fun to watch with people in a big screen. And it makes you go, damn, there's still people out there that like are putting, as much as like this show is based around comic book stuff.
Right.
It's really fun when you get a movie that's not based on original IP with a great director and a great cast, and it actually hits. So like the more I thought about this movie and the more I like talked about it, even with you guys throughout, it just makes me more excited and I want to go see it again. I plan to actually go see it at some point at like an Alamo Draft House in Chicago.
Yeah.
Because like I want to go to that theater, and I also want to experience it with like a movie going audience, like a big time movie going audience. So yeah, I think it's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
There's minor criticisms like I have about like the way the story plays out and some of the mechanics that we pointed out here, but damn, like it's one of those movies where you're like, I love like where you could play that clip of what's his name, Blake Braden or whoever the hell it is. Going,
I fucking loved it.
No, I love this movie. Like it's just
love this movie.
exactly.
Yes,
It's just it makes you fall in love with like movies or art in general.
Yeah. Delhauer, give me a number.
I'm going 9.5, baby.
Whoa.
I'm going high on this one because I walked out of this movie. This was one of those instances that reminded me what fucking going to the movie theater felt like.
Absolutely.
I loved this film. I loved everything about it. There are moments where I can pick shit apart, sure, but I don't fucking care that much about that. It's why it didn't get a 10. But like being in a theater where I got to experience not only the movie, but the audience got so into this movie.
Yeah.
I guarantee you people in that theater went home and they fucked because of this movie.
It's a horny movie.
And it was just like the moment where Sammy went to go play his song and Delroy Lindo tells him like, tell him who you are and where you're from.
Oh, yeah.
A guy halfway across the theater went, I'm from fucking Brooklyn. And everybody cheered. And I'm like, I'm not even mad that happened. Goddamn right you are. This is an experience for people to be in.
Yeah.
I'm going to see this movie in the theater a second time with people. This was like, this felt like this is The Godfather coming out to me.
Yeah.
Because we have been stuck in this weird studio aspect of what filmmaking is for a while now. And this is a director who knows what he wants, made what he wanted, and came out to say, fuck your system. This is what filmmaking should be. And I 100% agree with that.
Well, yeah, you should go out and see this movie, support this movie, because it is something new and something original, not an IP. And it's a director's vision, so I think support it.
Well, one thing, and then Imran, you can get your thoughts. One thing to point out too is it is a movie where it's like bucking the trend.
Yeah,
but don't forget he worked with Warner Brothers to do this movie. Like he found in a major studio to be like, "Yep, go out and do this." With
Warner Brothers, that has given us all those shitty DC movies. He got them to agree to his terms. Yeah, no, I agree with all you guys. This is an experience. You need to watch this in the biggest screen you can find with the best sound. It's the reason it's full use of the medium of film. It elevates the genre. It's outside of the vampires. It is a fucking amazing period piece. And like I said, all these guys, they're working at peak levels of talent. Everything's firing. I give this a 9. I want to see it again. Because it's just that good and rich and textured, and the soundtrack is dope. I listened to some of it on Spotify. It's just, it's refreshing. And to your point, it's refreshing the timing of this, that we get a break from.
We need more movies like
this.
We need
100%.
Yes.
In the same spirit.
Absolutely. Where are these auteur directors? Give them a chance.
Well, just a quick plug. The movie, one of the trailers that came out before this movie that Warner Brothers is releasing is the new PTA movie, One Fall After Another.
Is that with DiCaprio, right?
Yeah. That looks fucking good.
That looks interesting. You know what's funny is Warner Brothers had 2 other movies with actors playing multiple roles, and they both flopped. There was the Alto Nights with De Niro playing 2 characters. Nobody went to see that. And then Mickey 17 had like 17 Robert Pattinsons. That didn't work. But 2 Ryan Cooglers. 2 Michael B. Jordans, 1 Ryan Coogler.
I mean, Michael B. Jordan and Michael C. Jordan.
And Michael C. Jordan. All the Michael Jordans and Ryan Coogler will make it happen.
Yeah. Go get Googled, everybody.
Everybody should
Get yourself Googled.
Get yourself Googled. You won't be disappointed.